I just want to, I was thinking of, so this right here, this, getting from that note to that note's hard, right?
It's a lot of time, yeah.
But it's also, just pitch-wise, I think it's confusing because it's an F to a D sharp, and an F we generally think of as a 3, and a D sharp we generally think of as a 2, right?
Yeah.
But if you go, if you just think, is it a, like how far are you going across? You're only going across. So, those are all, that's just one band.
Yeah.
Yeah, so try that again and just try to just really look at your left hand. I think that could be something that becomes, it can turn into kind of a strength, you know, that you just, you know exactly what those notes are. Can you try that just by yourself real quick?
Yeah.
But use your eyes. Yeah, great. So if and you know, it's funny. I think so much of the time I catch myself practicing like that. And one of the best tools you have is your eyes.
Yeah.
I say you, me too. I often forget to just look at what I'm doing in the left hand. And anyway, I was just thinking that just that very beginning, you want to be focused on just the drama and finding, you know, going all the way over there can sometimes be a bit of a stress. So if you just focus on keeping your hand really steady. Now another thing is, so it's forte, and I see you kind of leaning forward for that note. This is this posture is kind of, oh, I'm so sorry. It's kind of apologetic, or can I get you this kind of a, you know, so that posture is not the posture of that's not the adjective that you're about to play. So if you're gonna, there's this kind of unsettling introduction. Everything's piano or pianissimo, right? And you're gonna come in, you know, and it's, even if I try to play my loudest, you know. So try to have a powerful, shocking posture for a powerful, shocking moment. Can you just try to have a straighter spine for that? Boom, and play up and to your right. Yeah, it's immediately a better sound. So when the violin's kind of more of a tabletop. Yeah. Yeah, try it again. Straighten up like that just a little bit. That's going straight. Yeah. And in general, as violins, because the violin's on the left, we want to play to our left. So if you can play down and to your left is how we usually go. Especially for me, when stuff gets hard, I go down and to my left. But if I try to remind myself, and I'll just get on stage real quick. Just for the audience, if I'm performing kind of, if I think of opening out to the right a little bit more, the people on the left enjoy that too, you know. But you play for the room better that way. Anyway, all right, Albert, sorry, I'm taking over here. But can we just try from the beginning again?
Yes.
And can you try to make that? It's really kind of shocking.
Yeah.
You know, those intervals are hard, and you know, often with a great composer, when things are hard technically, they're hard emotionally. You know, so try to make it as dramatic as possible when you can.
Yeah.
And I was asking you to do a lot of new things. I still think, can you try, just give us 2 bars, 4 bars.
Yes.
And try to not, you're doing too good a job of getting ready. You know, where you're, The audience knows it's coming. So, you know.
More of a surprise.
Yeah. You don't need more than about a beat.
Yeah.
I mean, if the violin's up, then you're down here. So there's not a lot of finding that note and everything. So try to really listen to him. I mean, in general, I find when I play with Albert, if I'm being a really good musician and a good partner, then I'm really kind of half focused on what I'm doing, and I'm trying to keep at least one ear in the piano. And if I have like a, you know, then I've got both ears in the piano, and I'm just like letting my hands do it. But I find that if you really are listening to what your partner does, your own playing improves hugely. Even though you think you need to be focused on your own part the whole time, it's really good. So make sure you really listen to all the subtleties that he's doing, because that'll make you respond better. So anyway, last 4 bars again. Yeah, and then you gave a. So without hearing me play, let's just take this completely out of context. If I go, what dynamic does that look like?
Cano.
Yeah, it looks mezzo, you know, it looks comfy. Boom. So you're about to play like, I mean, give me a few adjectives for just your entrance. You know, what mood is that?
Bold.
Yeah.
Loud.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah.
So you know, when you're mad, so when you're sad, words come out of your mouth slow and heavy, and your actions are slow and heavy. When you're mad, things are quick and pretty violent. So if you give I'm getting a pleasant cue. Boom. So try to do it, even if it's hard technically. Try to get a angry cue. Right.
Beautiful, yeah.
Did you want to say
I just actually, since we're doing also the beginning, first of all, bravo. I love both of you, like the drama in it. It's very heartfelt. Also, your dance. I love the solos. I'm just saying, I played this. It's a hard opening. One general thing that connects with Will's point of not being prepared is actually, I think, a pattern in this piece, which is maybe not so usual with Schubert, but it reminded me a little bit of the Infinity Symphony, if all of you know it, or anything like that, with these big contrasts. There seem to be very sudden contrasts here. Whenever he wants a crescendo, he writes a crescendo or diminuendo, but if not, there's a lot of fortes and then subito pianos with the same material, but I think it's somehow very dramatic, chromatical. It's kind of quite a dark piece, I guess, in my head, and there's immediately very strange things happening which make it so beautiful. So in the introduction, if we look at it, not to be too analytical, but let's say like we did with the bossa, we have 2 bars, 2 bars, 2 bars, and then we have this surprise bar that's out of the blue with a hairpin, right? Which doesn't fit the pattern, and then 2 final bars. Yeah. So it would be a total normal, actually very casual phrasing, except for that 1 bar. Okay. I'm wondering if sometimes when composers write hairpins, it doesn't necessarily mean only volume, but it actually can mean time too, right? It's kind of the same for all of them. I feel like you could make a little bit more out of that bar, and then the pianissimo. That's another second point. Sorry for focusing on that. The pianos. Did you use the left pedal much?
Yes.
I would say just don't be afraid of using it even more. Maybe just when it writes pianissimo, because it changes the timbre as well as the volume.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, see how chilling that chromatic descending line can be before you get surprised by the violin entry.
Yeah.
It's just so shocking, right?
Yeah.
Can we just try the opening once?
Absolutely.
And do you know what bar I'm talking about, right? Like 1, 2.
We're talking this part with the hairpins, yeah.
Yeah. So you have extra bar, and then pianissimo.
I see.
But maybe see what happens if you try.
So we suggested that I shouldn't use mute onto pianissimo.
Yeah, but then in pianissimo use it more, like to the
Gotcha.
bottom.
Okay.
Actually, Schubert's piano had a special, like we have now in upright still. Sometimes he writes triple P, even maybe I think only at the end here, but it doesn't, you can use it for pianissimo. And actually put a cloth in front of the hammers, and it was this very damped sound that we don't have in grand pianos, but which was probably very effective. And he writes triple P a lot in certain places, and apparently that's what Bob Levin said. So he's probably right. I didn't check. So sorry if it's a lie. Okay, can we try it?
That is such a weird bar, and I remember listening to this piece forever and hearing this. And I couldn't tell if it was. It's like it's almost intentionally rhythmically confusing. Now, this is an interesting thing about Schubert too. There's a lot of debate between editions about.
You saw we had 2 editions with different rhythms and different notes.
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna ask the.
Yeah, it's dotted in our edition.
This one says 2 half notes. But what's interesting is you'll get different interpretations of accents versus drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think so. Basically, I mean, you always want to use your intuition with composers, always. So it's never just sitting a piano and playing quiet. It should always be putting it into context and making it your piano, and not just following orders. But this. So you have the downbeat by yourself. Now, what type do you think that's a karate chop accent? Do you think that's a intense accent? Do you think it's one of those broad accents? Maybe something, I don't know, just.
I don't see it. It's just like more of with the vibrato.
Yeah. I would love to hear more of that vibrato, because I didn't hear enough to make it an accent.
Yeah.
And I was
It's not marked here, but which?
Oh, it's not.
You mean on the F?
Yeah, see, that's what, this is exactly what I'm talking about. See that decrescendo there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's this edition interpreting a marking by Schubert. I think he often did these big, just a big marking like that.
Mm-hmm.
And some people would go, oh, that's clearly an accent. And other people would take this. So let's take this interpretation, but let's put it right on the F.
Yeah.
And kind of do
That's
something.
how it feels.
The piano's a percussive instrument, so there's no true legato entrance there. So I think you need to do some. So giving a little bit of. Kind of sink into that note, a little bit more vibrato. Try to do really a vibrato accent. And then, why it's gonna always be best and most successful if you have an emotional explanation for that. So we've said, oh, it's more of a vibrato accent. What kind of, what is that one? Is that more heartbroken, or is that more
After the big drama at the start?
Yeah, maybe. And it's on
like
the second beat, which is that's the opposite of relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
He went, that would make a lot of sense. It would make actually more sense.
And another thing actually goes back to the Nebo. He could have easily written, right? But the Neapolitan, which we all know what it means in music in that time, and it's always a dark touch, actually probably means a lot in this case. Both would have worked, but why did he pick that? Also, it's another clue, right?
So that's a painful note, right?
It's a painful note.
It's a very
painful chord.
That second beat of that bar, yeah.
And also you start the bar with a dissonance, because you don't start with a chord, but you start with this E.
Mm-hmm.
E, right? All these.
Yeah, not to get
To another
about
dimension.
one note. But it's interesting. I mean, the more you care about what you're playing, the better you're gonna perform it. Like the more you care about that accent, the better that accent's gonna be. The more you care about the next forte, the next thing, the more you've thought about it, the stronger your opinion, the better the performance. So, anyway, let's just go right there and try to just sound as painful as you can on that second beat. Yeah.
No. I love
Yeah, let's go on. Just the next bar. I was talking earlier about hearing a recording of myself and being kind of shocked. One thing that is, you can almost never over-exaggerate articulation. So when the piano, can you play the very beginning of your solo? So
Yeah.
Bum. You're going to see two percussive boom, boom.
Yeah.
So you see that key go down and up, down and up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a total release. And for us, it's really hard to not go. I would actually almost think of a baby retake. Down, bum, like really go. Here, try it myself. Yeah, try it. Split the difference just slightly. Yeah, that way we can really tell there are two notes.
Yeah.
And when you don't, when it goes, then we're losing actually the meaning there. So it's really essential that we hear two quarters. So basically try to put an N at the end of that note. So when you see the dot under a slur, and it's two of the same thing, that means we definitely need to hear two.
Yeah.
Now why the slur instead of dum bum? The dum bum would be too cheerful, right? This there's something sadder about instead of that belongs in another piece though. So but make sure that we hear that N. So just try right on your soloing. I think actually for both of you I think you need a little bit more time because the way you're doing it currently, I think it's a bit athletic and a bit cheerful.
Between the two for
Yeah.
two beats.
It can be a sad, I don't know, I just don't, even though we're kind of in major here, I don't think this is fully happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty dark piece. So can that,
So we take time on both beats.
not necessarily like time, just that it's not rushed. So, because right now I'm seeing kind of a boom, boom. I'm seeing if it can be a lazier, sadder left hand. Can you just try that? Right, and I would just say louder than the other strings of the violin, that it's almost an automatic accent when you go to it. If you were to keep that fingering, immediately when I go to the A string, it's just a softer, more muted sound. I would do that on the A string because then with the one that has a crescendo written, then we get a brighter sound. That's where I would, yeah. So yeah. Yeah. You see how that automatically, just the choice of string immediately
changes the way you play.
Yeah. So that's actually one of my favorite things about playing the violin, is that for free, we get 4 different sounds, really different characters. And something I've kind of become obsessed with as I've gotten older is having kind of more linear fingerings, and fingerings where I'm using that E string as a statement string rather than just a string of convenience. So this, of course it's easier to just put your second finger down there, but that's a very bright bum bum. When you did it on the A string, then we got a much more muted sound, which I think matches better. So with your fingerings, just think about which, do you want a bright sound or a muted sound? And I think that's a good place to go.
And I was going to say that makes sense also musically, because if you think about where the big surprise, going back to the simple things like before, where the surprises are in music, to me it's this second time, because when we heard it at the piano, it resolves, right?
Yeah.
This time, same thing but more intense, right? It's a big shock, and then it resolves in a very sort of eerie piano.
Yeah.
So this fingering strategy will probably portray the music better. Try that.
Should we try that from the piano solo?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. When you're in a music building and there are multiple instruments practicing, you always hear the piano clearest, right? Through a door, you always hear the piano. You can't even. So if somebody's playing Sibelius violin concerto, you don't hear the violin, you hear the piano, and it's because of the percussive sounds coming through the door. So knowing that, your forte on the 2 dullest strings on the instrument. There's kind of the power though with the G string that you don't get from. So I would really play out, like majorly. Try to play way too loud there, because I think in order to actually be a good partner and respond to the piano effectively, you need a sound that can match the piano, which is going to take some doing. So. Try to do flatter here. So when you're looking for a bigger sound, one of the best things is just doing flatter hair, because not only do you have more hair on the string, you also, the element of gravity can go when you're on the side of the hair, you're topped out. Whereas here, you've got something to play with.
Nice. And you know, another thing in chair music which is nice is that sometimes you're with each other, right? We just played the second theme, and sometimes against each other, which is probably this case here when we're doing it. So is there a way you can do, as Will mentioned, play it again and keep one ear for what you were trying to do, now that you've done it, and the other ear for the other instrument, and see how you're literally interrupting each other? Do, di, da. Especially, I think it will make you phrase it differently, but maybe the entrance should be a little bit more, and then you can go away. So da, da, and try to interrupt each other, like a little bit more, maybe even aggressive, like fight against each other, and then you will resolve fine. But just imagine, like, don't be too nice. It's quite angry in this moment, right? Or, yeah. See if you can just try that again. And, the rests, right, are so important. I know this whole figure is difficult, but here, where we're just talking with the sequence, if you can actually don't be afraid of lifting the pedal and hearing the, as opposed to, I know it's the bass line, but I think it could be nice, and then have the one, next one. Because then you have the contrast here. So these little details, and the same of going against each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes your hands go against each other, right? Like these. And I feel like Schubert's writing, I don't know how you all feel about it. Often it's very string quartet-like, even if it's not a string quartet.
Right.
It's also orchestral, like we just mentioned, right? With all these contrasts. But string quartet, like the texture from the beginning and throughout, is a lot of string quartet. So you have the one melody and then three instruments like this. So you get this nagging figure all the time. That's pum 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 pum. If you play that, how would you play that in the violin? Probably one bow, right?
Yeah, they probably could.
Or even if you did two. Maybe if you actually see how beautifully that sounds. Maybe imagine the impact is at the beginning, as opposed to, or just try to just give a little bit of energy at the beginning and then let it carry you.
A little bit of forward ricochet.
Yeah, exactly. You can think of your arm maybe moving a little bit forwards, so that it's one. Great. And then at the same time, yeah, you're right, that can be a long phrase.
Yeah.
Or soloist.
Yeah.
Timekeeping interrupts.
Bravo, you guys.
Yeah, bravo.
Thank you.